Thank you. I want to welcome everyone to the meeting and to those observing the meeting virtually on Microsoft Teams. No fire drills are expected this evening, so in the event of an alarm sounding, please quickly make your way out of the building. Please turn your mobile phones onto silent or to switch off and to take any calls outside the meeting room. Do not leave any bags unaccompanied and report any such items. Remember to take any bags with you when the meeting has concluded or as you leave the meeting. This meeting may also be subject to filming or audio recording by others in accordance with the Council's filming protocol. Anyone who remains in the meeting following this announcement will have deemed to have consented to allow their image to be recorded and broadcast. Thank you. Now move to item 1 of the published agenda, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies for absence?
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies from Councillor Beatrice, Ellis and Anderson.
Thank you. Are there any more apologies for absence? Thank you.
Give Councillor answers, please, Chair. Yeah, we can do.
We'll strike that. Thank you. Okay. Okay, move on to item 2 of the agenda, declarations of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? No, thank you. So move on to the minutes of the last AGM. Can we have somebody to propose that they're a correct record? Councillor Coxhead? Second is Councillor Henshaw. Thank you. Put it to the vote by a show of hands with accuracy. Thank you. Now move on to item 4 of the published agenda, appointment of Chair of the Council for 2024 and 25. Have a proposer, please. Councillor Coxhead. Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Henshaw. Thank you. Councillor Barton. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Can we, any more nominations? Yeah, thank you very much. So I appoint myself as Chair of the Council. Thank you. Okay, so we just need to break from the meeting. Now move on to item 5 of the published agenda, appointment of Vice Chair of the Council 24-25. Could I have a proposer, please? Councillor Coxhead. Thank you. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Henshaw. Thank you. Any other nominations? No? Congratulations, Councillor Clay, Vice Chair. Thank you. Thank you. Resume the meeting. Move on to item 6, receipt of any announcements from the elected mayor and head of paid service.
Chair, I've just got one announcement. In October 2023, members may remember that we had a peer review undertaken by the LGA, where a group of people from across the sector came in to have a look at the way we do things, what our strengths are, areas for improvement, and to come up with a number of recommendations for how we could strengthen our position as an authority. That report was finally received around March, and we've done an action plan in terms of addressing each of those recommendations. That was presented to Cabinet, which is now been endorsed and is available on the website and on the LGA website. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Item 7 of the published agenda, appointment of executive for 24-25 and executive appointments for 24-25. Now I'd like to invite the elected mayor to announce his appointments, including outside bodies.
Yeah, I'd just like to confirm that the executive appointments, including the outside bodies, remain the same, and they're set out on pages 7 to 9.
Thank you, Mayor. Now to move on item 8, scheme of delegation 24-25. Elected Mayor, would you like to confirm the delegations 24-25?
Yeah, so again, the scheme of delegations is set out on pages 11 to 15. I'd like to say thanks particularly on how well the joint appointments have worked this current year. They're set out on pages 11 to 15 of the report.
Thank you. I move, excuse me, item 9 on the published agenda, membership and appointment of committees for 24-25. I'd like to invite the Chief Executive Officer to present his report.
Thank you, Chair. So agenda item 9, membership and appointments to committees, can be found on pages 17 through to 35. The report sets out under 4.1, page 17, the political balance of the council following the resignation of former councillor Ben Brown. The change to the representation would see a very marginal change due to the resignation. However, with the by-election being called, the Labour administration has agreed to leave the composition unchanged pending the outcome of that by-election. Sections 4.3 to 4.12 sets out the requirements and allocation of requirements and regulations that need to be undertaken and also taken into account. On pages 21 to 25, it sets out the proposed composition of committees for the year 2024 to 2025. The recommendation as set out in the report of the political balance of the council as set out be noted, and the appointment of chairs and membership of the council's committees be approved as set out in Appendix 1. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the CEO? Thank you. Proposer. Elected Mayor, seconder. Councillor Whitby. Does anybody wish to comment on this motion? No, thank you. Elected Mayor, do you have anything you'd like to say? Thank you. I'd like to put it for the vote. All those for? Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion is carried. Move to item 10 of the agenda, appointment to outside bodies. I'd like to invite the Chief Executive Officer to present his report on outside bodies.
Thank you, Chair. Appointments to outside bodies can be found on pages 27 to 31. The report advises Council that the terms of office of a number of outside bodies expire at the end of May, and that replacement appointments be made as set out on page 31. Recommendations are also set out in the report that the appointments be made to the outside bodies as listed in Appendix 1. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions to the Chief Executive Officer? Thank you. Can I have a proposer? Elected Mayor, seconder, Councillor Whitby. Does anybody wish to comment? No, thank you. Anything more, Elected Mayor, from you?
At the tad, but well, just to say a big thank you, because there's been a lot of work taken by a lot of people. So I want to thank them for their time and commitment to all the various roles.
Okay. Thank you. Now to put the motion to the vote by a show of hands. All those for? Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion is carried. Move on to item 11, dates of the meeting 24 to 25. I'd like to invite the Chief Executive Officer to present his report. Dates of the meeting.
Thank you, Chair. The report on pages 33 to 48 sets out the requirements to establish a set of proposed dates to ensure the committee's functions, duties and statutory requirements of the Council can be carried out. The appendix sets out those proposed meeting dates. The recommendation, as set out in the report, is that the schedule of meetings for 2024-25, as set out in the appendix, be adopted. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for the CEO? Thank you. Can I have a proposer? Elected Mayor, have a seconder, Councillor Whitby. Thank you. Does anybody wish to comment on this motion? Thank you. Move to a show of hands for the vote. All those for? Any against? Abstentions? Thank you. Motion is carried. Number 12 of the agenda, extract minute from the Cabinet to refresh corporate strategy and performance management framework. I'd like to invite the elected Mayor to present his report.
Thank you, Chair. You'll all be aware that the last few years have been extremely challenging for everyone, including local authorities, and that includes Mansfield. The volatile economic climate, crippling energy prices, inflation and skill shortages has made planning for the future a very challenging task. But I believe we continue to ride the storm, and we have presented this corporate strategy that kind of represents the changed circumstances. The refreshed corporate strategy, it sets out the Council's revised vision, ambitions and priorities up to 2030. It details how the authority would respond to the priorities of residents, businesses and visitors. The revised plan, it's set out in plain English. I think that's one of the big improvements. You know, the previously very wordy, but it's very clear what the objectives are, and that makes it a lot easier to actually monitor it and check the things that you intend to achieve. There's been a great deal of work, partnership working, and so I would like to thank the Cabinet and the corporate leadership team who've worked together during various meetings and workshops, you know, to give that shared vision and sharpen it all up so people can actually understand what we are trying to achieve. And I'd also like to thank the Overview and Scrutiny Committee for their input, and the recommendation is that the corporate strategy as set out in the amended Appendix 1 be approved. And secondly, that the performance management framework as set out in Appendix 2 be approved.
Thank you. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that, Chair, and reserve the right.
Is that Councillor Bergin?
Spoke for me, well, thank you.
Does anybody have any wish to comment on this motion? Thank you. Councillor Whitby, do you wish to? You've reserved the right. Do you wish to speak further?
Councillor Bergin has nothing to add.
Thank you. Elected Mayor.
Nothing further from the comment.
Thank you. Let's put the motion to the vote by show of hands. All those for? Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion's carried. To move on to item 13 of the agenda, insurance renewals 24-25. I'd like to invite the Head of Finance to present her report on the urgent decision taken outside of the budget related to insurance renewals for 24 and 25. Does anybody have any questions for the Head of Finance? Thank you. Can I have a proposer? Elected Mayor? Seconder? Councillor Whitby? Does anybody wish to comment on this motion? Elected Mayor?
It just kind of, this item demonstrates the stresses and strains on the budget. You know, when you look at the percentages increase, you know, like 40% increase in premiums, it really, you know, nobody can be foreseeing that kind of level of it. You know, 11.9, 16.6%, they are really big numbers, and then it's very difficult to plan ahead for that kind of volatility in prices. So well done for getting there in the end anyway.
Thank you. Are there any more comments? Okay, so we move to the vote. This will be by show of hands. All those for? Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. The motion is carried. Move on to item 14 of this, the agenda, the delegated decision by the portfolio holder for corporate and finance. I'd like to invite the portfolio holder for corporate and finance to present his report.
Thank you, Chair. This report is for the acceptance of £20.4 million in funding from the Department of Levelling Up Housing and Communities to the Levelling Up Partnership. This significant grant will support crucial projects focused on regenerating Bellamy and Oak Tree estates, enhancing the town centre and improving Sainsbury's Junction. The funding will enable vital improvements such as community space upgrades, family hubs, public realm enhancements, aligning with our strategic priorities of a thriving, vibrant and sustainable Mansfield. This reflects the Labour Group's unwavering commitment to improving our district and working towards a greater prosperity for all our residents. I want to thank officers for their dedication and time in helping securing this grant. I would like to seek the council's approval to accept this funding and amend our capital programme accordingly. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder? Elected Mayor.
Reserve the right.
Thank you. Does anybody wish to comment on this motion? Councillor Camilleri.
Thank you. Thank you for work. Secure these from the town. Point is trying to get these. It's a long time to deal with it. I've funded bank for years and things haven't been going forward. I'd like to see this money spent well, not wasted. White elephants. I'm a little bit concerned about the Beals commitment. The fact that this place is only quarter full at any given time. Better house is only quarter full at any given time. And there must be a place where they can't get together. There's a great deal of money, top off around the back, and it could work better. But that proving that it really is difficult to find a need for Beals in the way you set it up. Be a big drain on this council going forward. I'd like to have a look at a review the way that the council is working in terms of both building better house and this working together to save money. Well done, Bob.
Thank you. Are there any more comments? Councillor Answer.
Thank you, Chairman. I just have concerns, severe concerns about Beals. At the moment, we have a fantastic facility here, Civic Centre, ample car parking, ample space for everything and everybody. We've had a hub here before, that collapsed, and I'm sure that going into the town is not for the benefit of people, because people have either got to catch a bus to go there. There's nowhere to park unless they pay in the car park. I think it's an absolute disgrace, the fact that we're going to use levelling up money to build new council premises for the benefit of the council. That's not levelling up. That's just building another council office. I do believe that we should be doing something in town centre, it's Beals, but we shouldn't be using it as a council officers. And I think it's a backward step. Fantastic building here. We spent millions here, bringing in DWP and a reception area and everything. And now we're going to just chuck everything away again. And it's a shame to see that the fact that this place is, to be honest, almost empty every day. It's time we got people to come back to work and work from these offices here and forget about you moving into the town. Just my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dennis.
When it comes to the idea of moving the council into a new building, I think we need to be clear about the details of this proposal. It's not just about moving the council, as many who have seen the actual reporting will know. It is about centering a lot of the facilities that the council provides throughout Mansfield in one building, which I personally believe will be to the benefit of all of our constituents. And also, people talk about this current building, but it does need to be made clear that there are issues with this current building that will be a problem in later years. So there are details in this proposal that cannot be overlooked.
Just going to bring in the CEO.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to bring a point of clarification, because we've seemed to have strayed into an area that isn't actually discussable within the report. The levelling up fund, which is what you're talking about, is not what this item is. This is the levelling up partnership. This isn't about whether or not we move into the town centre. This isn't or not about Beals. The only element of this that is relevant is the component 10, which is the Beals demonstrator, which is an enhancement to the site that's already there. So the points that you're actually making are not relevant to the report that you are talking about here tonight. This is the levelling up partnership. So any comments should be maintained within this document in relation to those points. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you still wish to speak, Councillor Henshaw? No. Thank you. Any more comments? Elected Mayor, you reserve the right.
Yeah, I'd like to say that the work that's been done with officers and the members of the place board, which, you know, we're talking about a great partnership working between Vision West Knox College, Nottingham Trent University, Sherwood Forest Hospital Trust. You know, this all comes about from working in collaboration that's bringing substantial investment into Mansfield, and that investment will then hopefully be matched by private investment. So I really welcome this additional funding that's going to help regenerate Mansfield.
Thank you. Councillor Whitby.
Further to add, Chair.
Thank you. Now I need to put the motion to the vote by show of hands. Are all those in favour? Thank you. Any against? Any abstentions? Thank you. Motion is carried. We've come to the end of the published agenda, so we'll now close the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Can those people who live in the borough of Mansfield, please, the old borough of Mansfield, please stay